Alright, what is up guys? JaretCampisi back with another episode. This is a non-paid episode, but we're actually going to be adding more power to this motorcycle. I actually made some mistakes regarding the Rapid Bike fuel controller and putting the bike on the dyno. So I want to address those things and tell you how my opinion on Rapid Bike has changed for the better. We're also going to be taking this bike over to Ducati for the final inspection, and then we're going to be putting it back on the dyno after I do some pulls to get the bike to be tuned properly. So I'm going to explain everything that's going on, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Alright, so I'm sure you guys have some questions like, what the hell is going on? What kind of mistakes did you make? Why are you trying to add more horsepower to a bike that's already absurdly light and ridiculously fast? Well, on my channel I always like to provide correct information, and if I do something to screw something up, I want to make sure people know it, especially when it's not fair to a particular company. So here's what happened. After I put up the last episode, the dyno episode, and Rapid Bike saw it, they ended up reaching out to me and explaining that I made some mistakes, not only with how we dynoed the bike, but also with how I rode the bike in order to let the Rapid Bike build a tune. So, if you don't know what Rapid Bike is, it's a fuel controller that automatically tunes the bike. We've talked about that before. Makes sense, whatever, right? Well, first thing is, in order for the Rapid Bike controller to make changes to the map of the bike, to the tune, the fuel air-to-fuel ratio, you have to let that Rapid Bike fuel controller see those throttle positions. So, since this bike is so light and so fast, and it's not mine, I'm going to be giving it away once I'm done with it. I ride it careful. I still have fun on it, but I ride it careful, and I actually never even gave it 100% throttle. Maybe for a second or two, that was about it. So when we put it on the dyno and we put the bike at 100% throttle, Rapid Bike's fuel controller never saw that before. So it had no idea what adjustments it could make in order to give the bike more power. When I spoke to the Rapid Bike tech, well, I think that it was the owner of Rapid Bike, he took time out of his day to get on a call with us, plug the bike into the Rapid Bike software, and we literally looked at everything. He reset some stuff, explained everything to us how it works, and I was really impressed not only with the customer service but also with his knowledge of the product. And he basically explained, look, see how there's all these zeros in the column at 85% and 100% throttle? You never gave Rapid Bike a chance to see those, so when you put it on the dyno, it never had a chance to make the proper air-to-fuel ratio adjustments, okay? So if I do that, do a couple pulls at 100% throttle in 4th and 5th gear, that'll help us gain more horsepower. He said every single person who has this exact same setup that we have, a full Acra system with a Rapid Bike fuel controller module and a Sprint air filter, was getting 190 horsepower plus on the dyno, no matter what conditions, okay? So that was one thing that I screwed up on. I didn't understand, and they just said put 200 to 300 miles on the bike and then go put it on the dyno. So that's what I did. I didn't realize that I had to make sure that it saw all the different fuel position, throttle position, stuff like that. Okay, so that's one thing. That was my mistake. Another thing that was my mistake is when we put it actually on the dyno, I was in race mode, but I didn't have wheelie control turned off or traction control turned off. So if you don't know what wheelie control or traction control are, they're electronic rider aids that if you're doing something on the bike and you give it too much throttle too fast, instead of allowing the wheel to lift, and there's different positions of this, the bike will actually cut throttle to keep the front end from lifting. So if you have wheelie control on when you're on the dyno, the bike has front and rear wheel sensors. So if the bike is sensing that the rear wheel is spinning at 100 miles an hour, but the front wheel's not spinning at all, what does that sound like? It sounds like the bike's doing a wheelie, right? They're not matching the same speed. So when Jason was actually giving it 100% throttle, there's a chance that it wasn't actually 100% throttle, and traction control works very similar. So that's two things that we're going to adjust on the dyno that should give us more power. And then the final thing is, when Jason did the sniffer, he put it just in the right side of the exhaust, like 99% of other motorcycles. That works perfectly fine. You get a proper air-to-fuel ratio gauge, and you can tell how well the fuel controller did. Well, on this bike, the Rapid Bike controller actually creates two maps. and we saw this when we plugged it in and chatted with the Rapid Bike tech, it creates a map for the front cylinder and it creates a map for the rear cylinder. And they're totally different maps. For whatever reason, the front cylinder tends to run a little bit rich before the fuel controller makes adjustments, and the rear cylinder tends to run a little bit lean. So if you look at just one of those cylinders, you're not seeing the whole picture. You're seeing a fuel map that doesn't make sense because they're not two of the fuel maps together. So, you know, hopefully that all makes sense. And the other thing that I realized is Rapid Bike actually did a really phenomenal job with the tune on this bike. It wasn't running lean or rich like we saw on the dyno because those air to fuel ratio readings weren't accurate. It also can make, when I talked about I would recommend a power commander and a custom tune, the Rapid Bike owner mentioned that a power commander you can't even actually tune, I think, under 6,000 RPMs. Whereas the Rapid Bike, because that's still a part of the closed loop system of the motorcycle, whereas the Rapid Bike controller actually can make adjustments, I think starting at 2,600 RPMs or something like that. So, you know, it's just stuff I wanted to share with you guys. I always try to keep my own personal opinions separate, and I just try to share information and let you guys make your own decisions on what you think of the products and stuff like that. But in this particular situation, I screwed up, and I wanted to make sure everybody knew the right information so that you can make informed decisions if you're interested in these products. So I'm heading over to the Ducati dealer. I hope all that makes sense, and yeah, I'll check in with you guys when we get over there. So I ran into some fellow bike enthusiasts, Colton and Ryan, and Colton actually has a Raven R6, which is a really badass model. But I was just explaining what we do with the series and everything, and I thought I'd start up the carbon Panigale for him. So here you go. Cylinders, and what that does is it makes a rowdy ass super bike. So they're crazy, dude. Really, really fun to ride. Alright, so we got the bike dropped off. They're gonna take a look. They're actually gonna reset the ECU, and they're going to just do an inspection and adjust the chain and stuff like that. And look what's sitting right here, guys. A V4S model.
They just got it in.
What do you think of that bad boy?
It doesn't compare to the one we have outside.
Oh, please.
That $12.99 is...
I think it's amazing. They went ahead and looked the bike over, said everything's good to go, tightened the chain a little bit for us. They were able to reset the ECU stock map in there, so it'll do some auto learning as well, and that in tandem with the Rapid Bike should help build a little bit better of a tune for us. So after I do some highway pulls at 100% throttle, we can take it and put it back on the dyno, so stay tuned for that footage. I can tell you guys, the throttle actually does feel a little bit lighter, a little bit less restricted. So maybe that ECU getting reset did help quite a bit, and I'm sure that's going to take some time for it to sort its stuff out as well. But yeah, overall, I'm happy. I'm happy that the bike's all good and good to go for the new owner. So I'm excited, and I'm also really excited to share the next project with you guys. Also, June 16th, I believe it's a Saturday, Ducati is having an open house, and we will be there with the 1299 Carbon Panigale. So if you're local in the area, Campisi Ducati, it's in Harrisburg. We will be there Saturday, June 16th, and I'll be making all kinds of announcements leading up to it as well. But people have been asking, they want to meet with us, and they want to see the bike and everything like that, so that'll be a perfect time to do that. We'll also be announcing the next project there. So I think it's going to be a really cool. They're going to have food and drinks and everything like that, and then we can all just hang out and put bikes on the dyno and yeah, just have a blast. So put it on your calendars. Let me know in the comment section below if you're able to make it out, and I'll see you guys shortly for some high-speed highway pulls. All right, guys. So today is the day when we go back and put this bitch back on the dyno. I'm with Christina on her R3, and of course I'm on the full carbon 1299. So just to recap, basically we had Rapid Bike reset the adaptive learning on the fuel controller. We had Ducati reset the adaptive learning on the ECU, and then I put a few more miles on it, did some highway pulls, close to 100% as I possibly could get, but while staying safe, and I did not record those for obvious reasons. And then we're gonna put it back on the dyno, this time in race mode with traction control off and with wheelie control off. So we also have a little bit better conditions. It's not quite as stiflingly hot as it was before. So yeah, we're gonna see what kind of a difference it makes, and then we'll check in with you guys when we get to the dyno. We have arrived at Carnes Performance. Teens, what do you think it's gonna do on the dyno? Did 182.8 before? No, 181.8.
Well, it is going to be probably like 20 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
15, 20 degrees. So I'd say maybe like 187, 188.
Yeah, I think 185, 186, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy with anything 185 or more.
I was happy with last time.
I was too. Yeah. No one really
I
complained.
mean, it doesn't really need any more power.
No, it doesn't. All right, let's let it cool off. We'll go find Jason. Alright guys, so here are the results. Keep in mind it was, I think, 97 degrees in here last time. What is it in here now, Jason? 70? Probably something like that?
Actually, 80.
80, okay. So it is 17 degrees cooler, which definitely will make or have an effect on these numbers. So, like I said, it was 181 before. In fourth gear, we did 182, almost basically 183. And then in fifth gear, he did some pulls, and we got 186 and a half. So that's pretty solid. Rapid Bike did mention sometimes these bikes will pull higher in fifth gear. So that's pretty cool. And also Rapid Bike mentioned usually guys do these dynos after they've been to the track for a whole day, all out throttle all day long. Obviously I wasn't able to do that. So 186 horsepower on a bike that weighs 380 pounds is pretty freaking insane. So we're really happy with that. And thank you, Jason, for taking the time to do this again for us. We really appreciate it. So there you go, guys, in race mode with traction control off and wheelie mode off, in a little bit better conditions with all the changes that we made. Picked up 1 horsepower in fourth gear, and then we picked up another 5 horsepower in fifth gear, so it ended up at 186 and a half, so almost 187. And then again, that's on a bike that weighs 380 pounds, so that's pretty absurd. I do think the Rapid Bike controller would do a better job of tuning the bike if I could ride it at full throttle, like at a track or something. Unfortunately, I just didn't have access to do that. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy with the Rapid Bike fuel controller. I appreciate Jason taking the time to redo the dyno, along with Yaman from Rapid Bike taking the time to sit down with us and explain everything, and of course Manny too. You know, I try to show as much as I can on this channel, share as much as I can with you guys. I'm always going to be open and honest about what happens and my thoughts and my feelings, but anytime I get presented new information, I'm always going to share that with you guys, because that's going to affect, you know, your opinions and things like that. So yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe I'll check in with you guys when we get home. This thing is a savage. It's a savage. All right, so once again, guys, stock horsepower on this bike, it was 178, and we just did 186.5. That was with the Rapid Bike auto fuel controller, the full Acra system, and the Sprint air filter. And like I said, guys, I do have to retract my previous statement. I would put a Rapid Bike on my own personal bike, knowing now what they do and how well it is for, you know, street and track and stuff like that. So I'm really happy with that. We'll be choosing the winner for this bike on Saturday, and we're also going to be picking up our new bike tomorrow. So that video will be up before that one, and basically that's going to start that series. So if you guys are interested in being entered to win custom super bikes, check out the Patreon page. You can support for as little as $5 per episode, and once we're done with these series, just like this one, we give the bike away to someone who helped make it all possible. So that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this bonus episode. This was not a paid episode or anything like that, just something I wanted to do because I made some mistakes. So there you go, guys. That's our completed 1299 Ducati Panigale, 380 pounds, full carbon, and 186 horsepower to the wheel, which makes it one of the latest and fastest 1299s in the entire world. So again, huge shout out to Manny from Moto Million, Rapid Bike, Dotto, Christina, everyone who made this possible, all the patrons. We really appreciate it. I'm really excited to see who wins this bad boy. And we'll see you guys soon. So hit a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more videos, and we'll see you guys in the next video.